Hello there, welcome back, and thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. If you are seeing my face for the first time, welcome. I'm Teresa, and on this channel we share one little spark of life in each and every video. I typically upload videos 2 to 3 times a week, so if you would like to hang out, if you're enjoying this video, want to hang out and chat a little longer, consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing that bell before you leave here today. That way YouTube will let you know each and every time I upload a new video. And I do want to apologize, I'm not exactly sure in editing how this is going to pan out. If you can hear some noise outside of my window, that is air units, air conditioning units, and that's where my complex decided to put them, outside of our bedroom windows. And honestly, there is no way to get that sound out or any sounds throughout the apartment out, because that's the beauty of apartment living. You pay a stupid amount to live in the apartment, but the complex could not be bothered with soundproofing the units. So in today's video, I am going to be getting ready for work today, but I also wanted to talk to you about something I've been kind of struggling with and debating back and forth with, and that is my upcoming Walt Disney World trip, or rather, upcoming canceled Walt Disney World trip. So in my last vlog series, which I will link both of those vlog series down below, where I took solo trips to Walt Disney World, in the last episode I mentioned that there was going to be no Walt Disney World trip coming up in June. I had one scheduled for June if you are just finding me. And I said that I didn't want to spoil that vlog or spoil the series by talking about why I wasn't going to Disney in June. And that's what today is for. So like with all of my chatty get ready with me videos, it's not going to really be a focus on the makeup, more just talking kind of like podcasty like style. But if you do want to know what I'm putting on my face, I will be linking it down below in the order that I am putting it on. So I'm not exactly sure how you book vacations, but with the way that I book vacations is I'll hardly ever, I think I've only taken one last minute Disney trip. Everything for this trip is, or was, let me say, I just canceled it. Everything for this trip was booked in advance, the room. And for this last trip, I had purchased an annual pass because I figured I would be going at least twice in the year, and I would get my money's worth out of that. If I do not go back this year, in the like February to February, that will have been a very expensive Disney park ticket. So I purchased all of this. Everything was paid for with the exception of my travel there and of course my food. I did not book my plane for various reasons. So the main reason why I am not going, I kind of alluded to it in the videos. A few times I talked about how my shoulder was hurting me, and that's why I didn't ride certain, like I didn't ride Dinosaur, I didn't ride Thunder Mountain, really any ride that was really going to like jostle me around, I didn't ride because I didn't want to screw up my shoulder any more than it is. If you are a very like, oh, I don't want to hear about any medical things, I'm going to put a timestamp right here so that you can know when to jump ahead, because I'm going to tell you exactly what is wrong with my shoulder, because that is the main reason why I'm not going on this Disney trip and why I canceled this upcoming Disney trip. All right, you there? All right, hopefully you are. So, background, very quick background of this. I, in December, fell and really hurt my arm, hurt my shoulder, but like it was radiating all the way down my arm. I thought I had broken my arm, and when I went to get x-rays of it, they said, no, your arm's perfectly fine, it's your shoulder. So weighed it. They pretty much just were like, it's your shoulder, we can't tell what's wrong with it, we think it's your rotator cuff, we're not really sure, we're gonna wait this out. So I did, I waited it out, and it was not getting better. In fact, it was getting worse. Well, in April, yes, in April, I was thinking, was that the month? In April, I went back to the orthopedic urgent care that I originally went to, and she did another examination, and she was like, yeah, you're gonna have to get an MRI. And I was like, all right, cool, let's do this. I'd gotten an MRI before for my abdominal area when I was having like really, really bad stomach issues. where like I couldn't drink water without getting sick. So I felt like I had done an MRI before. I am good. It's gonna be okay. An MRI of the abdominals is apparently far different than an MRI of the shoulder where it's just your head and your shoulder. So like I felt like I was on the slowest moving roller coaster in the world and that my head was going to explode. That was a horrible experience. Not the worst test I've ever had, like medical test I've ever had in my life, but like it was a really bad experience. But got through that, got the results back, and I talked about it on Instagram. I was not, like in my stories, I was not pleased with the doctor. Still kind of am not pleased with the doctor. He saw me for all of like a minute, maybe a minute and a half to say like, hey, your rotator cuff's perfectly fine. Not exactly sure why you're in this much pain. You're going to go over to physical therapy. Went over to physical therapy. And then I was told, hey, yeah, your rotator cuff looks fine, but you have a separated shoulder and you have a torn AC joint. So that like really explains why I am in so much pain. So I'm doing physical therapy twice a week, and the physical therapy appointment times were running into when my trip was going to be. So that I didn't really want to stop the physical therapy to go on the trip, like to take a week off, because I thought, well, that would not help really with the progress. So that's one of the reasons that I canceled this trip. But also like all of this, if you don't live in an area where things are not covered by like universal healthcare, all of that's out of pocket. So that MRI was a very expensive MRI. And that the physical therapy is very expensive because my insurance through work is not covering any of it. So yeah. So mainly it's the I don't want to interrupt physical therapy and the I don't really have the money anymore to go to Walt Disney World. So all of that, and physical therapy is not really working. I'm noticing that it's only like my shoulder is only progressively getting worse. At the time that I am filming this, we've pressed pause on twice a week of physical therapy, and we're going to try like one day of physical therapy and like an injection to see if that will help. And if none of that helps, then I am staring down shoulder surgery. So in that case, I definitely could not go on my Disney trip. So I just decided to bite the bullet and cancel the trip. Okay, so now if you were just joining us back, yes, the hurt shoulder and the potential for a need of surgery is definitely the main reason that I canceled this upcoming Walt Disney World trip. And I have to admit, I am really... This is where I'm probably going to sound spoiled. I know that like I am very happy that I was able to go on the trip that I just went on. I had such a great time, but I'm really sad in the same thought. I'm really sad that I'm not going to be able to go on another one. I do have like mentally one planned for January, January. January of 2023, and that just seems like such a long time away. Disney World is definitely that like space that I can go and just unwind and feel completely, I don't want to say safe. I mean, I do feel safe whenever I'm at Disney World, but it's a place that I can feel completely relaxed because I don't have to worry about, if I'm going to be able to find food that fits into like my allergies that I have and like the diverticulitis that I have. Like I know I can always find food to eat there, and that I know that there's always going to be someone there, cast member like your security, if I fall sick or if I need something. So yeah, that, and it's in addition to that, I feel at this point I'm just rambling, which I know I am, but in addition to that, it's just the like, I don't know, it's a happy place for me. So in that regards, I am quite bummed, for lack of a better word. I'm quite bummed that I am not able to go. Let me know in the comments down below if you have a place like that that is just like 100% your happy place. You could go, you always feel relaxed when you were there and you never get tired of it. I did this for the last trip while we were, while I was doing my makeup, and it was a chatty get ready with me. And I really liked being able to have like this almost like debriefing of the trip. And so I figured I'd do it for this one as well, and probably will for every trip I go on, whether it is Disney or not. Because yes, when I go on trips from now on, I am going to vlog them. I really do enjoy that. And I enjoy taking y'all along for the journey with me. So with this trip, I am going to be listing, like linking down in the comments, the last one that I did of this, so you can tell, like if you do want to watch it, what I thought of on that trip. The cast members on this trip were a lot more magical than they were in the last one. I can definitely tell that it is getting kind of more so back to normal. It seemed like they did have more cast members actually on staff and out on stage. By the way, this will never be a channel. I know that there are some channels out there who do this because, I don't know, they feel that like starting drama or saying like overly stating the negative or being rude is going to get them views. And I know that it does, but we're never going to have that here. This will never be a talk poorly and dog Walt Disney World cast members because let me tell you from experience, the things that Disney cast members have to go through are things that no one should have to go through, and especially not to have to go through them to get paid for so little. But anyway, so yeah, so the Disney cast members were a lot more magical this time. I didn't hear any of them speak about things going on in the real world that, you know, like they shouldn't really speak about, or you don't really want to hear on stage like I did on the last trip. And I found that overall the guests were better. On the last trip, I never said this, and because I want it to be polite, but like, I don't know, I'm a year older now. I really no longer care about politeness. There seemed to be, when I went on my last trip in 2021, yes, June of 2021, there seemed to be a lot of like everyone, oh, that is a dark eyebrow. Oh, everyone just decided, I don't know. It seems like there was a lot of entitlement going on with the last Disney trip in 2021. And I'm not sure if it was because like these people had never been to Disney World, or if that's the type of people that they just felt entitled. There were a lot of Karens, for lack of a better word, on that last trip. A lot of Karens and a lot of, what's the male equivalent of Karens? A lot of Tods. There were a lot of Karens and a lot of Tods on that trip.
Short PSA, I mean no offense to any actual people named Karen or Todd. Okay, thanks.
And it didn't mesh well, I gotta say. Hold on, I gotta do something about this eyebrow. What was I saying? Yeah, and on this trip I found that there were not that many type of people. There were a lot of families there, and it was more of a family atmosphere that Walt Disney World kind of has always been, which is good. There were people that were like obviously making like annoying, obnoxious, kind of like, look at me, trying to go viral TikToks. But other than that, it was okay. I also found on this trip that people, either they didn't care or I didn't care on this trip. No one really made any sort of like under their breath comments about the fact that I was traveling alone, like they had in previous trips. Or in the previous trip, let me say. I didn't find, and this may have been because like shows were opening back up, I didn't actually find the crowds, like the crowds were bad, but the lines were not. I did not use Genie Plus or Lightning Lane or anything like that, because even though I was staying at the Lake Tower through DVC, your kid was on a budget, so I did not feel like paying all of that. And honestly, there were, besides the rides that I did miss out on because of my shoulder, the only thing that I really did not do because it was too long of a line was the Jungle Cruise. And that's how it was for the last one as well. And I think I said this in the actual series, but if you were just watching this, I personally think that you could do Disney without having to pay for those extras. Now, it might have just been because I was one person, but yeah, I found that by and large, the wait times that Disney had put up was wrong. Like sometimes it was wrong by like 5 or 10 minutes, and sometimes it was wrong by like half an hour. So I don't know. It's kind of just a like, you're going to have to play it by ear if you are planning a trip and you were wondering about that. Kind of ask around, I guess, of that day if you were okay with talking to strangers, talk to the cast members. That way, I don't know if they're like, if Disney is doing this. I feel like they are, and then like, bad for you, Disney. I feel like they are upping the wait times purposefully so that people will purchase those extras. But I mean, I'm not sure. It could just be that the wait time, because wait times do fluctuate. It could be that whenever they first scan the little wait time like ID that they have you carry, that at the time it was that. But by the time like I got in the line, it had gone down significantly because people saw that and they were like, nah, I'm not waiting for that. So that is how wait times do work at Disney as well. It's not a like constant updating. It's not like 100% accurate, even before the whole Lightning Lane thing started. Now, since we are talking prices, or I did mention prices, let's talk about how I thought the prices were. Because although I did not get any of those questions here on YouTube, in like my real life, not that YouTube's not real life, but you know what I mean, the people who I speak to on a daily basis, they wanted to know what I found of the prices. This was the first trip ever that I went on that I was like, okay. And it's not so much like, here's how I feel about Disney, and I've always felt about Disney, and I always will. It irks me, always has, still does, probably always will, when people are like, oh, Disney World is so expensive. Have you been in the world? Have you gone out like outside of your house in the last like 20 years? Like, have you? If you truly think that, like, yes, Disney is expensive. I'm not going to sit here and preach that it's not, but everywhere is. Like, the McDonald's down the road from me, if you buy a chicken McNugget meal, it's going to cost you like $11. Like, and I live where there's like a moderate cost of living. That's not even a high cost of living place. So, like, literally anywhere is expensive. I'm going to be honest, if I'm going to pay like out the ass for something, I'm going to want it to be somewhere that's going to like razzle dazzle me and I'm going to have a lot of fun with. So that's why like I never felt, and I still don't feel, that Disney is like overly expensive, because the rest of the world is, when you look at it that way. So the only thing that I felt was like really like expensive were the souvenirs, the things to purchase. So I purchased a bit, and I realize I have not done a haul video. I will do that coming up soon, but I purchased a good bit more than I probably would have, because I had a 20% off discount with my pass holder card thingy. My annual pass comes with a 20% discount on merchandise. So that's why I was able to purchase things. If it wasn't for that, I probably would have bought, like, of course I bought some souvenirs for other people, but for me, I probably would have just bought like one thing, maybe two things, because that's really what I thought was like that was overly expensive to me. And there were some food items that I found. I know that Disney recently went up in their prices, and it was all over like all of those news sources for Disney. They were all like, they're going up in prices. Most everything was like, it went up like 50 cents to maybe $1.20 more, depending on what it was, at least what I saw. And now granted, if you are there with a lot of people, yes, that would make a big impact, but I didn't find that it was like all that much more. There were some things though that I was like, absolutely not. That is way too expensive for food. I'm not paying for it. One being, I love cheese. Like I love grilled cheese sandwiches. I love all kinds of cheese. But in Woody's Toy Box, or Andy's Toy Box, in Toy Story Land, the food place, Disney tries to sell grilled cheese now for $10. And that's one that I'm like, Absolutely not. I am not paying that much for that. So for me, it's not necessarily that I found the prices for the food to be all that more expensive, but it was like a for that, I don't feel the need to pay that much. Now, I do have to say, if you have not been there in quite a long time and you're coming back to Disney and you're trying to like food budget, I would definitely take a look online. I know that whenever we would plan trips when I was younger, my mom would always, because I asked her at one point, I think the first time I planned to go without them, I had asked like, hey, how much should I budget for food? And she had said $30 per person per day. And at the time that was true. Now, no. Um, Now it's more so like if you get quick service, you're more than likely going to spend probably about $45 to $50 a day per person, depending on what you get. Now I don't drink, so I don't know like how much the liquor is. If you're going like to drink around the world and you want a drink like per place for yourself, that is going to get very expensive very quickly. Did just want to warn you. Something that I did find, and I did on both of my trips, was get the kids menu item, especially like not for table service, but for quick service. And especially if it was like quick service at the room, quick service at the hotel where I was bringing it back up into the room. Just it's maybe like $1 or $2 cheaper. The portion size is smaller. So if you're like not hungry, that's another thing with Disney. It's hot a lot whenever I go. So I'm not as hungry because of the heat. So the kid size of something is going to work perfectly fine for me. And I know that one of the execs a while back made the statement of they were reducing, I forget what she said, but like we're reducing portion sizes and like our guest waste are going to thank us or something like that. Honestly, I didn't find the portion sizes had decreased at all on anything that I had purchased. All right, so the face is done and my video is done. So in a nutshell, I know that I was rambling a lot today and I do apologize for that. This is what happens when I don't write a script for my videos. But that is why I canceled my upcoming Walt Disney World trip and my thoughts from my last Walt Disney World trip. If you were planning a trip to Walt Disney World, let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions that you would like me to answer. And if you have gone lately, let me know, what did you think of your time while you were there? I would love to hear from you. That is it for me today. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your day with me. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in another video. Goodbye.